one of the considerations that honestly environment is the last thing on most political agendas, but I want to bring in Devi Goenka at this point, and I want to ask you that one of the strong arguments that Jayanthi Natarajan has put forth at several times, and even when the Congress was trying to defend her, they've said that there has been a freeze on certain clearances primarily for the sake of the environment. Was she really that much of a champion for the environment as she's being made out to be by certain quarters of the Congress party?
Well, my personal experience has been that she has been no better or no worse than most of her predecessors. And the unfortunate fact is that the Environment Ministry has actually degenerated into a licensing authority where they permit industrial activities and other activities which destroy the environment. And the real problem is that everybody assumes that the ministry is actually an all-powerful kind of thing. But it is understaffed, under-equipped. They actually don't have the technical expertise and the manpower to deal with a huge variety of issues that confront them. They are really understaffed and underfunded. And I think the Supreme Court order on directing the Government of India now to set up a regulatory authority will actually take away the discretionary powers of the minister and maybe streamline things.
Well, so are you suggesting it's more of incompetence rather than corruption? Are you suggesting that?
I think it is incompetence, inefficiency with a dash of corruption thrown in for good measure. It's unfortunate, but that's the kind of thing that we seem to be confronting. And of course, the other thing that I must mention is that there is always a huge amount of political pressure brought into the ministry from time to time, mostly from the PMO, but from all kinds of other political parties also. They want their project cleared on priority. And actually, if you look at the procedural aspects of the ministry, you find that most applications are incomplete. Most of the environmental impact assessment documents are cut and paste documents. Most of the facts are wrong. And which is why, when we go to the National Green Tribunal and challenge all these environmental clearances and forest clearances, most of these clearances are being stayed by the courts because of, lack of due diligence or lack of proper scrutiny of these projects.
That's a grave situation.
The discretionary power.
Grave situation that you talk about.
It is a very grave situation.
No, and I want to bring back the Congress. No, I want to at this point bring back the, because you raise a very valid point, and I want to bring back the Congress representative at this point. It is not just perhaps about corruption as the charge that has been made by the BJP, but also about inefficiency and incompetence that Devi Goenka talks about. And I want to ask you, and I want to give you the numbers at this point. This is a report that has been conducted by one of the leading newspapers, and it says that as many as 119 files were signed by Jayanthi Natarajan and were still held back by the minister for some reason. Nobody knows what the reason was. Another 50 were signed and retained by her staff. Now this is open to interpretation, and the BJP has chosen to interpret it as pure corruption. Some are saying it's incompetence. But at the end of the day, for the Congress party and Shobha Oza, it is clearly embarrassing. 350 files, absolutely no accountability.
See, environment is a big ministry with 10 joint secretaries. Other ministries have 1 or 2, but here we have 10 joint secretaries and a
are you
number
trying to suggest that because it's such a big ministry they weren't able to manage it?
What I want to say is, as far as I want to discuss the allegation made by Mr. Modi. If he had any proof, he should have come with the proof.
That's a very staid answer. Shobha, that's an extremely staid answer.
Your own government
has elections. And can Mr. Modi comment on Babu Bhai Bhuria and
your own government has lost. You have been talking ad nauseum about it. Let's talk about the subject today. And your government, your Prime Minister, your party has lost faith in Jayanthi Natarajan. So why are you trying to defend her today? You have lost confidence. The industry has
these
lost
debates are becoming very predictable because every time you ask a straight question, whether it's the BJP or the Congress, the only thing that you have to say is what has the BJP done. I'm asking you, what is the difference that when Jayanthi Natarajan was Environment Minister, why were these files being retained, and why are these projects being cleared now when her successor Veerappa Moily is the Environment Minister?
No, why were files not released after they had been signed?
Or was there political interference then, or is there political interference now?
That is no proof that corruption was there. Is it?
Was there political interference then, or is there political interference now?
Why don't they come out with the proof?
What, do you want some bank account numbers to be released?
If there was any corruption, we have a right to information. We are in an era where corruption can be easily brought out.
The industry is abuzz.
I want to bring it, Captain Gopinath, I want to ask you, more as a representative of India Inc., than a supporter / maybe a part of the Aam Aadmi Party. My question is...
I'm not speaking...
Can you hear me, Captain Gopinath?
I
want to ask you that this sudden, almost hurriedness with which projects are being cleared by the Environment Ministry, in 2 weeks, 65 projects. Do you think this is clearly, as many suggest, with an eye to 2014, that all the backlog that has been kept by Jayanthi Natarajan, for whatever reasons, we won't speculate on that, suddenly now they've realized that India Inc. is upset, has been upset for so long, they've moved Jayanthi Natarajan out, and now are trying to make sure that before elections, they somehow are trying to, calm nerves, frayed nerves within India Inc. Is it A, too late, and B, is it being done with an eye on 2014?
And I just want to make a couple of points. See, we all know that it is nothing to do with this ministry or this minister. It is a larger malaise. It is a systemic problem that, in all the ministries, not just the Environment Ministry, there is a lot of discretionary powers that prevents a file getting cleared because the minister sits on the file. It could be not just in the Congress government, even in the BJP government or any other government. So I think the issue now is we all know how to solve this problem, because there could be a minister in the Environment Ministry who doesn't give a clearance because the party is in the opposition in the other state. We all know it throughout the history of Indian independence. Many projects are not cleared because the government is in the opposition in the other state.
Okay.
And I think we had to go back to the issues of what Anna Hazare raised, that we had to create systemic changes. Supreme Court's order now is one great example, that you need to have a regulator so that a lot of discretion can be taken away. And this Environment Ministry, I think, is as technical, as serious, as important than any other ministry, because the whole future of India, the future of the planet, depends on the environment. And there's a lot of discussion here.
I'm afraid I'm completely running out of time. I'll have to interrupt you there. Completely running out of time. But you've raised some very valid points. Mr. Rao,
just one line.
Yeah.
You see, the fact that a lot of files which are signed, 169 files signed, have not been released, is enough proof that then the motives are suspect.
No, but at the same time, I just want to end on the point that this is the environment that we are talking about. This is the environment that we are talking about, and let's hope that in the future this ministry, just like all the others which are equally important, is not used as a political tool by the government that is ruling the country. Ahead of 2014, that is one valid point that needs to be made. To all my guests for joining me on Newsnight, thank you so much. Captain Gopinath, GVL Narasimha Rao, Shobha Oza from the Congress Party, and of course Devi Goenka.